Buddy?
I can hear you now. Yep. How's it going?
It's going well, man. I made it. I made it. I'm on. And so, can you let me see something here. Let's see if I can make myself. There we go. Let's see here. Okay. It's new computer. And so, let me see if you can you see my screen with the nice MFA logo on there?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Now, how about this? Can you see my screen now with the slide deck?
Yep. Sure can.
Sweet. Okay, good deal. So do you want to, did you let
Yeah.
everybody know what this is about? So can I dive in?
Well, let me just say one thing. So this is a live Q&A session for everybody. So if you have questions as Todd is going through his presentation here, just make sure to type them into the chat section, and I'll make sure to ask Todd every single one of the questions that you guys ask after he's done on this awesome topic that he's going to go through now. So ready to go.
Cool. So yeah, like David said, these tactical implementation and Q&A sessions are really focused around one particular topic. And then we save time in the end to answer whatever questions it is that you have about this topic. As you can see from my screen, what we're talking about is engineering, juicy premiums, juicy bonuses, kind of my approach to how I create, design, implement hot bonuses that drive the sale. My approach is really a lot easier than what you may think. And so I'm going to really share with you like it says here, I'm going to share with you my secret sauce and how I approach every single bonus every single time for every offer. The first thing that I really want you to understand is this, that you've got to go the distance with your premiums. Lately in a lot of content, a lot of essays, a lot of training, other trainings that I've been doing, I've been focusing my time and attention around the offer. And as most of you hopefully know on here, the offer is obviously what your prospects get, what they stand to gain and get, and what it is that they have to give and do in order to get it. And the offer is one of the most critical elements of every marketing campaign. I cannot stress that enough to you. The offer is a make or break piece of every marketing campaign. The better the offer is, the sweeter the offer is, the more over the top the offer is, the better your conversions will be. A great offer, a stellar offer, can make up for weaker copy, weaker marketing. But great copy and great marketing, all the whiz-bang plugins and automation that you can think of, will never make up for an ordinary, plain, run-of-the-mill offer. And so you've got to go the distance with your premiums, because premiums are one of the 7 pieces of an offer, right? A great offer always has premiums, always has bonuses. Great premiums can drive sales in and of themselves, meaning you can turn prospects into buyers just with great premiums. Our goal is to include premiums that make prospects say, I would buy this just for this premium or just for these premiums. That's how good they are. And so the thing that I don't want you to do is I don't want you to throw together your premiums. I don't want you to simply look at bonuses and premiums as like, hey, this is something that I know I have to include in here. And so because I have to include it, I'm simply going to throw some premiums together. I'm going to throw some bonuses together, right? Like, especially for those of you that are in the information publishing world, it's very easy to take this mentality of, I'm going to take what's on my hard drive, what I've done already. I'm going to repurpose something else and I'm going to throw it in there, thinking that just by adding bonuses that you're doing the job, right? You're getting the job done. Or just by having a lot of premiums in there that you're sweetening the offer. You're not sweetening the offer by just having premiums. You're sweetening the offer by having the right premiums, by having hot, sexy, over-the-top premiums that would make your prospects want to buy if it was just the premiums being offered. And so you need to with what it is that I'm going to share with you, you need to go the distance with your premiums, just like you've heard me say you need to go the distance with your overall offer, right? Where the average entrepreneur, the average marketer online whips their offer together. They sit down and they say, here's my product, here's the price, and here's the guarantee. And like, that's it. That's how they put together their offer. That's a major mistake. You want to, with the offer, it's just like with the premium, same exact mentality. You want to think about, what would my prospects go wild over? When it comes to your premiums, I ask myself really the same question that I ask myself when putting together the offer, which I do before I do anything else in the campaign. What premiums, regardless of whether I have them, regardless of whether we've done it already, regardless whether it's something that can be repurposed, regardless of what effort it's going to take to put them together, what premiums would make my prospects go wild? That's the question that you have to answer. Anything less than that is you trying to shortcut the process and you sacrificing sales. I do not want you to do that. With that in mind, let's go into some of the finer points of putting these bonuses together. And on the very next slide, what I'm about to show you is really the secret sauce. Not my secret sauce. It's just really, it's the approach that I take. It's the one thing that I look for with all bonuses, and it's this. Little delay there, little build up the drama. It's this. That what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to do with the bonuses is I'm trying to do one of two things. I'm trying to either, one, fill in any product gaps, which I'll talk about in just a second, and or remove any potential excuses for not buying. So what do I mean by product gaps? Well, if you have a product that requires your prospect to know something else or to do something else that's not covered in your product has just created a gap in the mind of the prospect. So if there is, like if you are selling fertilizer, for example, and part of this is like, look, when you add this fertilizer to your lawn and you properly water your lawn on a proper watering schedule or whatever, you're going to grow a gorgeous, green, lush, magnificent lawn that's going to be the envy of all of your neighbors. Well, what you've done, even though you're conveying benefits and a transformation for the prospect, you've just created a gap in their mind in terms of, well, what is a proper watering schedule, and how do I get on a proper watering schedule, and how do I make sure that that I'm properly watering this lawn and this fertilizer. And so if in your promises, your benefit statements, if you are creating a gap because there's something else your prospect needs to know or do, that is creating a gap. You want to fill in that gap with your premiums, with your bonuses. Now, usually or often, product gaps can lead to excuses for not buying. Meaning that, like, well, if I buy this fertilizer, then I don't know how to water the lawn, right? Or they might say, but if I buy this fertilizer, then I'm going to need to go out and buy a seed spreader, right? So now it's going to cost me extra money because I'm going to need to, this, a seed spreader, or it's going to now take me even more time, right, to do this. I'm going to need a rake or something or whatever, right, to, an aerator for the lawn, right? It creates these additional excuses for not buying. It basically creates this gap in their mind, and it gives them additional reasons for not buying. My aim with premiums is to fill in those gaps, to eliminate those gaps, and to look at what potential excuses, new excuses, could my prospect have for not buying that were just created from my offer. Now I want to overcome that with the premiums. And so, David, before I go on and show some examples of this, does that make sense? David?
Sorry, I had you on mute. 100%, Todd. Yep.
Yep. Okay. And so, And so very important, right? Where a lot of marketers, they'll add in premiums that are kind of more of the same, meaning like, if they're selling a program on like how to set up their funnel, let's just say, right? And they'll add in bonuses that are like the 5 hacks for the 5 conversion hacks or something like that. They're adding on more of the same, but what they're not doing is they're not addressing the gaps and excuses that they've just created with their offer. And more of the same doesn't eliminate those gaps, doesn't eliminate those excuses. And so you ask yourself at the end, what are the gaps that I just created with this offer? What are even the perceived gaps that I just created with the offer? Hopefully you haven't created an excessive amount of gaps. If you have, then that really should tell you that you probably need to go back and add some components into your product, into your deliverable. But usually you'll create 1, 2, maybe 3 different gaps. And is there anything now that the prospect could feel they're going to need to do or buy if they take advantage of this offer? Is there anything else that I'm not addressing, that I'm not equipping them to know or do, or right? Is there something else that they have to buy in order to do this? Oftentimes you'll see this like with a traffic generation course where it's like, but now I'm going to have to spend money right now. Like I have to have extra money. If I'm going to spend $1,000 on this traffic course, now I need money for actual traffic, right? That creates an additional excuse. They might believe every benefit, every promise, every piece of proof point. They might believe your argument, but you've just created this reason, this excuse for not buying because they could say, but yeah, I need X. And so let me give you an example of how I did this with the E5 Camp Masterclass. So I think everybody on here is at least familiar with the E5 Camp Masterclass, right? It is my methodology for setting up, designing, engineering, examining, launching, and then scaling a customer acquisition marketing campaign. So at the end of the campaign, I sat back and I thought to myself, well, what gaps did I potentially create in the mind of prospects, and what excuses could those gaps lead to? So the first one was this idea of, but I don't know how to design my pages, and it's going to take me a lot of time to design my pages, and I'm not sure if I'm going to set them up correctly. And so I included a bonus, a premium that gave them a bunch of real world $1 million plus campaigns designed from beginning to end. So they didn't have to design anything. They had all the graphics, they had the layout, they had the upsells, the downsells, they had everything in between, the opt-in pages, etc. So that was the first gap. The second gap was email, right? So a big part of any marketing campaign is the follow-up sequence. And so I knew that somebody at the end could say, it sounds great, but I don't really know how to write email, and it's going to take me forever to write email, and I'm not sure what is a right, what's a good email sequence. And so that is one of the bonuses. And instead of making it a here's how to create or write great email sequences, this was, here is a set of 15 complete email sequences, not templates, not fill in the blanks, real world sequences that we use and in some cases are using in actual live campaigns. And so this eliminated, like, you don't have to learn anything, you don't have to study anything, you don't have to worry about whether it's good or bad or not. Like, you have these campaigns that from beginning to end that you can model. And then finally, right, and I just alluded to this, the final gap that I felt I created was, yeah, but what if I have a great campaign and a great, all my pages are done, my layout is perfect, I've got the email sequences set up properly, but what about traffic? And so I said, let's include a traffic program in here, right? And so so that's I took what I thought could be the potential excuses, like, okay, so I'll learn how to create a great marketing campaign from beginning to end and test it and examine and everything in between, right? But then I'll need the pages, boom, taken care of. I'll need the emails, boom, taken care of. I'll need the traffic, boom, taken care of. The other thing that I want you to see, that I want you to understand is this, that when I'm doing these things, right? When I'm doing these things, I look for ways to make these bonuses superior, different from anybody else's version. Meaning that, like, so in here, I know that with the email sequences, I knew that other folks in the marketplace had offered and are offering various emails, email swipe files, email templates, email fill in the blank stuff. I didn't want to do that. So I said, how can I address that gap, but do it differently and do it in a way that is superior to everybody else? And so I felt, let me give complete email sequences and let me make them real sequences, complete sequences from A to Z. Over here with the traffic generation, bonus, the idea was there are lots of people that are teaching traffic. And so I don't want to have something that is just teaching traffic. I want to have something different, something sexier, something that I believe is superior. And that is a behind the scenes peek at how we do it at MFA, kind of an internal recording from our COO, Damian Lanfranchi, who oversees all of our traffic, of how we do it. Now, here's a little kind of behind the scenes tip for you, right? I had Damian create this just for this offer. So I said to Damian, here's what I want you to do. I want something that I can present as an internal training that was done by our COO for our team, that breaks down everything transparently that we do with traffic, right? But we didn't have that yet. So I said, Damian, that's what I want you to create. I want you to create an internal training for our company that is really only going to be used primarily for this bonus. And so that's what he did. And it wasn't like, I told him, I said, I don't want you to do it all pretty and nice and snazzy. Like, this is an internal training. Put this together as if you were training our team on what we do from beginning to end. And that's what he did. And so that was me addressing the gaps, and me addressing the gaps with something that I felt was superior and different from versions that were out there, right? You can't get this anywhere else. Even though you can get traffic generation, there are other programs and products and bonuses out in the wild that our prospects could get from other people. What they couldn't get from other people was the MFA way of doing it, this internal document. And just as a side note, my belief is that anytime you offer a kind of an internal, and I'm saying it with air quotes, an internal document, an internal video, your notes, your private, a private recording that you did with, your traffic agency, that it has a more valuable feel to it. It's cooler because it feels like, well, if it's an internal recording, then nothing was held back, no fluff was shared, nothing was exaggerated, like everything is completely on the up and up. Right. And so you'll find in lots of different offers that I put together, you'll find either premiums and or additional offer components that are like a look over my shoulder kind of thing. Like when I did the what comes to mind right away was when we did the offer with Robert Cialdini on his new book. And I did, like I said to Robert, I said, I need to get him on the phone. I need to get him on the phone, and I need to do a phone call. Why? Because I wanted this private discussion that I could share, right? And then we transcribed it, right? I took my own notes, and then I said I included my own notes in the offer. It's sexier than just stuff that's created specifically for the offer. That's all. Just a little aside. And so, David, I know you're probably muted, but does that make sense? Is there anything that you would want me to explain for everybody as it relates to that before I go on to the next point?
No, and I think you've handled the questions that are in the question box. But the question that I would ask, and I think for the benefit of the folks, and I know you mentioned that we're not going to create premiums for the premium's sake. But the question that I want to know is that what if you feel like your course really kind of rounds out and has, everything in it, that there is enough in the course that there are no gaps? I mean, is that something that is possible, that we could say this is this, and then do we intentionally leave out pieces of the course, as long as we can still fulfill on the promise, of the course, in order to offer them as a premium?
Yeah, so a couple things. So first, you said something that I just want to address. You said, that we never create premiums just for the sake of creating premiums. And I just wanted to clarify that for everybody. What you were really saying is we never just throw together a premium, like just so that we can say we have a premium or a bonus in our offer.
That's
but
correct.
To make sure that, right, yeah, to make sure that everybody is crystal clear, though, you should be creating premiums that are just premiums. Like your aim is to sit back and ask yourself with every offer, what premium or premiums could I offer that would make this over the top? And those premiums that you create or put together, if need be, or have put together, might only be used in that offer and nowhere else. Right? Like I've done that. I've done that multiple times, not only with premiums, but even with upsells, where we've created upsell offers that were specific to a particular campaign, and the deliverables or a portion of the deliverables with that upsell are not available anywhere else, right? The goal is we're not looking for the shortest path to just have a premium or just have an offer. We're looking for the shortest path to have a high conversion offer, to have an offer that crushes it, right? Like that knocks it out of the park. That's how you have a game-changing campaign. And that requires you to ask yourself, what do I need to add to this? It's going to drive people freaking wild. And sometimes you're going to have to create it or have it created, or have it put together from something else that you've done, a blog post, an audio, a video. You're going to have it combined, or you're going to combine it yourself to have the right premium. To address quickly the second part of your question, like what if what if there are no gaps whatsoever? And what if I've addressed everything? If in that rare instance where there are no gaps, what I would tell you is, yes, I would pull out one or two pieces of the product to offer as a premium. Remember, what you said, and it might sound like semantics, but it's important for everybody on here to grasp, is that, right, we're fulfilling on the promise of the offer. It's not just the promise of the product. Remember, many of you've heard me say this before, and this is I want you to ponder this. If this is the first time that you're hearing me say this, I want you to ponder it. And that is this, that what we're really marketing and selling in the marketing campaign is the offer, not the product. The product is only one piece of the offer, right? There are benefits. There are other valuable things that your prospects are going to get from other elements of the offer, not the product. The product is only one piece of the offer. The reason why we can say things like, right, like, and the beauty of this is you risk nothing, right? Like if we were making a soft offer where pay nothing today and only pay in 30 days if you love it, part of that offer is, and the beauty is you don't even have to lay out any money today. You can enjoy the product for the next 30 days, reap all the benefits, lose all the weight you want, bring your cholesterol down, boost your energy, and no money comes out of your pocket today. And only if you love it and are thrilled with the results do you pay anything in 30 days from now. That has nothing to do with the product. Right? That's a benefit that has nothing to do with the product. The money staying in their pocket is a benefit of the terms of the offer, has nothing to do with the product. So what we really need to make sure we can deliver on are all of the promises, all the promises of the offer, which include other promises that are related to other components, not just the product. So there's going to be additional benefits that they're going to get from the bonuses, right? So at the end, when I sum up the offer in this example with these bonuses, I'm not just giving the benefits of the E5 Camp Masterclass. I'm giving the benefits of having of having this complete campaign swipe file and dissection, and the benefits of not having to write email or hire anybody or having no expense for a copywriter, and having all of these complete email sequences that you'll be able to use for the rest of your marketing life, and then knowing how to drive traffic, our method, starting with only $50. Like, those are additional benefits that they still get that don't necessarily come from the main product. So does that make sense, David?
Absolutely, man. Yep. Thank you very
Good.
much.
Okay, you got it. So the next point that I wanna make for you, and there are only five points in here, so don't think that this isn't going to be a 3-hour marathon for you guys. I promise we'll get you out of here in an hour max. The other thing that you'll notice, and you'll notice that this really wasn't done well on these bonuses, is that you ultimately want to give your premiums, your bonuses, a benefit-driven title. I think that oftentimes these were images, slides that were designed by our graphic designer, and it did a great job. And so I'm not sure where the header, the complete campaign swipe file and dissection bundle, Todd's private complete email sequence, and MFA internal, they probably got that from some copy that I wrote for the videos. But ideally, you want a benefit-driven title, and don't get caught up in thinking like that you need a fancy name. Like a lot of marketers, and get this, a lot of marketers make the mistake of giving the name for the thing, right? And that's what they focus on. They give the name for the thing, when really what you want to focus on is the benefit. Oftentimes in a long form sales letter, certainly even on a VSL for that matter, right? Rather than saying bonus number 1, a collection of web pages, a collection of marketing funnel web pages. Rather than saying that, you're better off taking that and asking yourself, well, what's the benefit? What's the big benefit? And that's what you put. Bonus number 1, right? Never have to create a single web page and know that you've got your funnel nailed, or something like that, right? Like benefit 2, right? Every email professionally written that you could want or need for any marketing campaign. Right, that's the second benefit. So go with a benefit-driven title. This is an example that many of you should already be familiar with. This is from the promotion that I just dissected for you guys in the monthly A&M dissection. And look at the names of these 4 free reports that are included in the offer, that are the gist of the offer. Right? How to get as much as $17,200 thanks to a little-known Social Security contract. The secret transaction that could generate hundreds or more in instant income month after month. How to juice the dividend payments on your favorite blue chip stocks by up to 500%. The government loophole that eliminates mortgage payments, saving you hundreds every month. Benefits, right? You could almost say, write the headline or the bullet for your premiums, and that's what you want to go with. Next, when you are presenting your premiums, you want to sell your premiums as hard as you sell the main product, right? Like, you want to include the features, the reason why they should care about those features, and the functional, dimensionalized, and emotional benefits. Like, don't assume that they know. Don't treat this as, a redheaded stepchild, right? Don't treat it as an afterthought. Treat your premiums the same way you treat the main product. Spell out the benefits. Spell out all the benefits. You can never have too many benefits in a marketing campaign, right? You cannot give, nobody's going to say like, okay, I don't want to know anymore about all the things that it's going to do for me. That's what your prospects care about most. And so you need to take your premiums, and you need to spell out the reason why your prospects should care. In this example, right, which again, I'm sure the copy was taken from copy that I wrote, you could see over here, right, you get all the pages, all the images, all the offers, all the copy. This way you can have the exact page templates and layouts that I use in my own $1 million plus campaigns that you can model and swipe for your own campaigns. This way you don't have to worry about how to lay out and format any of your campaign pages. You can just swipe mine, right? That's a benefit. That's the reason why they should care. Over here, with your copy of the complete email sequence swipe out, you never have to worry about staring at a blank page or what to say or how to say it in any of your campaign emails, right? over here. And when you're done watching this, you'll have everything you need to successfully and profitably scale your new E5 campaigns using paid traffic to get even more new customer sales. Right? You're spelling it out over here. We could probably have done this better, but it's key that you don't treat them any differently from the main product. Next is you want to give a reason why you're including them. Right? So like, what's the reason why you are including these? You might say like, right, this way, right? I don't want you to have to worry about setting up any web pages, graphic design, or what your pages should look like. And so that's why you're including it, right? Like, and you might not necessarily say it like that to prospects, but you want to include a reason why, give a reason why you are including these premiums in the offer. Multiple is better than single, right? Plain and simple. Hopefully all of you know this. Two premiums are better than one. 3 premiums are better than 2. The thing that I would say with this is, I'm sure I'm sure there is a threshold where, like, look, if you've got 12 premiums, at some point it's going to get a bit excessive and ridiculous. But you're better off having 2 than 1, and you're better off having 3 than 2. And I would go as far as to say you're better off having 4 than 3. 4 premiums are probably the most that I would go with. I recently saw a campaign where I just felt like, I think there were 6 premiums, and it was too much. Some of those premiums should have just been built into the product. I believe, and this is just a pure kind of speculation, but I believe, or an assumption, I believe that too many bonuses, like when you start to get in that realm of 5, 6, 7, it just makes the product feel incomplete, hence the need for all of these bonuses. Or it can kind of feel like you're trying to make up for a weak product by stacking on so much. And so 4 maximum, usually I go with 3. More is better. Treat everyone the same way, right? What's the gap? What excuse? What would drive them wild? 3 killer bonuses, like over the top bonuses that oftentimes I try to make the bonuses worth more than what it is that the entire offer is priced at. Sometimes the bonuses are truly worth more. Like I remember with the 6-figure funnel formula, right? This is the 6-figure funnel formula is a program that I launched years ago. It became the longest running marketing campaign in MFA history. It drove new customers into our tribe every day from cold traffic for years, for something like 2+ years, over 2 years. And I remember thinking about, when I was putting that together, what premium would be over the top. And so I decided that I was going to do a look over my shoulder of me actually creating a full-blown 6-figure funnel formula, 6FF style campaign from beginning to end. I was going to go into a brand new niche that I had the customers, my clients, vote on, that I had no connections, no experience. And then I filmed, doing all the research, writing all the copy, recording the videos. I gave copies of all of the scripts. I gave copies of all of the videos, and I did it over the course of whatever it was, 30 days. And so there were 13, 14, 15 videos, something like that. That was wildly valuable, right? To many posted on Facebook, they found it more valuable than the main course itself. And so that's what you want to think about. And then finally, there is what I would just call relevant versus irrelevant. Relevant is really everything that we've been talking about now. Relevant is kind of like it's filling in the gaps. It's right. It's like the three bonuses that I shared already. Irrelevant would be a coffee mug, a T-shirt, something neat. The funny thing is this. This is, I was talking about this on our team call earlier. This is, so many moons ago, I was in the chiropractic niche, and I used to sell about $1,000 a month program to chiropractors. And the way we got most of our clients was through a direct mail package. It was like a 23-page sales letter with inserts, and there was a DVD in there and whatnot. and like I said, this was not a cheap program. It was, the lowest version was almost $600 a month. The high version was $1,000 a month with a $1,500 setup. And the craziest thing, we added in one premium, and this premium boosted response. I don't remember how much, but it was significant enough that we used to laugh about it. You're talking about doctors, chiropractors here, paying $1,000 a month, and this premium right here was the thing that boosted response more than any other premium. And it was a personalized mug. Basically, what I did was I had a custom cartoon image created, which in hindsight, looking at the image, probably wasn't the best image to go with, but I was going with an image of, probably wasn't what we were going for, but I paid an outsourcer to create this image of what was supposed to be a really successful, busy chiropractor. And the caption says, "Wow, Dr. Smith, you really are, what does that say? The most popular chiropractor in town." And their name was put in there. So Dr. Schwartz, Dr. Smith, whatever was put in there. And they went wild over it. And so don't think that everything has to be relevant. Sometimes little cool things like this that they wouldn't ordinarily buy for themselves, or that they wouldn't have the opportunity to buy, is just cool. It's cool. It's fun. It gives another reason. It's kind of funny. I actually got this idea from my friend Yannick Silver years and years ago. He had a copywriting program, and part of the offer was a mug. And it said something like, "Wow, Todd, you really are an incredible copywriter," or something like that. I don't remember exactly. Funny thing is, I could have bought that, I don't know, 13 years ago, 14 years ago. I still have that mug. It's still my favorite mug. I have that mug, and it's still my favorite mug. And so don't think that these irrelevant bonuses won't work for you. Sometimes, man, the oddest thing. I remember Dan Kennedy talking about when he was selling to marketing executives, and one of his premiums, what was it? It was something like their picture and their name on a mock cover of like Marketing Magazine as winning Marketer of the Year award. Right. And so they could hang it on their wall. It was a goof, but, and he talked about how it drove response. And so think about it. And so finally, before we take questions, just some interesting kind of ideas for premiums, not the typical ideas. So you could do look over my shoulder videos, and you could do look over my shoulder videos with anything. If you were selling fertilizer, you can do look over my shoulder videos. If you were doing, if you were selling something about knitting, you could do look over my shoulder videos. Implementation case study. You could do a case study, a set of case studies of people that started from scratch and implemented what it is that you are teaching or giving or equipping them with. You could provide a toolkit, right? This is another thing that I used to do. I did this in multiple niches many years ago where, if you're in the information product business, that toolkit could consist of worksheets, fill in the blanks, templates, like an actual toolkit. Dan Kennedy's longest selling product, Magnetic Marketing, was a toolkit. Almost the information was there to supplement the toolkit. Right, so it was a toolkit that you were buying with information about how to use it and why it works and what to do with it. And I did the same with my very first information product. It came on a little diskette, kind of funny. You could do critiques. This is one of those how to create value from like thin air, right? Like you could do a critique. This is kind of like if you're selling makeup, you could do a video critique, have them send in a video of themselves doing, putting on the makeup, and you give a video response critiquing it, knowing that there's a tremendous amount of breakage in that, meaning that, like, I remember when we used to do this, we used to include this with all of our training programs years ago, and some like less than 4% ever sent in the critique. And so but you're creating value. And I wasn't hoping that nobody would do it, but it is what it is. You could also do things like coupons or gift certificates for specific services. So if you were selling a course on traffic generation, for example, there are coupons that you can find for $50 worth of Google AdWords or $50 worth of Facebook ads. There are gift certificates and things like that that you can buy at a cheaper price than their face value and include them in there. And you would just build it into the price of your offer. But here you eliminate, like if we included a gift certificate or a gift card or a coupon, whatever, for $50 worth of Google AdWords ads and $50 of Facebook ads, right? That's got a real world value of $100. And it also fills in a gap and eliminates an excuse that, hey, I don't have the money for traffic. Now it's this, you don't need any additional money because you've got $100 worth of traffic that you can use to drive Google AdWords and Facebook ads. And so there you go, David. That is how I approach putting together juicy bonuses. And so did I miss anything, leave anything out that you want to ask me first? And then if not, if there are questions, I'll take whatever questions there are.
We've got so much to talk about, Todd, with this mug with the three guys on top of one another. I've got to understand
terrible.
this.
It's terrible. It was meant to be, right? Like it was meant to look like this guy's so busy he's adjusting three people at once. Unfortunately, with the if we go back to this and the shirtless men, tongue hanging out, one guy looking at the other, yeah, it didn't turn out the way that I was hoping for. But nevertheless, it boosted response, and so that's all I care about.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right, we got some questions here. So Pete says this is a great session, great being capitalized, and he also has a question here. So, do you send paid traffic to a different sales page than the one that may be on your website? Different copy for traffic. I'm wondering if he's asking that in the context of the bonuses or adding the bonuses or not. But nonetheless, that's Pete's question.
Usually we do not. So assuming, right, so kind of to give clarification for everybody. So, right, usually a front-end offer is an offer that, right, is designed to turn a prospect into a buyer. When we roll out a front-end offer, we're trying to turn prospects into buyers, whether they're on our house file or via cold traffic. And so usually, I shouldn't say usually. More often than not, I like to run a campaign to our house file first to prove it out, and then based on the conversion rate that we get, then we'll roll out the same exact campaign to cold traffic. We're rolling it out to the house file first to make sure that we're getting a minimum amount of conversions. We were actually just talking about this earlier, like 3%, minimum 3%. If I can't get 3% sales conversions on a front end offer to our house file, the odds on me making that work to cold traffic are slim to none. But once we prove it out with our house file, then we'll roll out the same exact campaign to cold traffic.
Cool. All right. Let's see here. Mike says, watch Facebook now get flooded with all the free mug offers after this call. And Pete says, as a follow-up, so 3% who click to the sales page, question mark?
Correct.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so really you can take a step back, and it's beyond the scope of this particular tactical Q&A, but one of the things for Pete, because Pete's, a top one member, Pete's a little bit more advanced than most folks here, but I'll just say that, so if you're getting, I look for 3% sales conversions, like that's ultimately what I look for. If you really wanted to get advanced, what you would do is you would look at your click-through rate to assess the quality of your hook. Like if you're sending out a dedicated email, meaning it's an email that's going out to your house file that is just about it's just designed to drive them to click a link and go consume your marketing message, and you're getting a very low click-through rate, I'm going to continue to test other hooks, right? Like I'm going to be a little nervous because if I can't get a good click-through rate on our on the dedicated email, right? If the hook just isn't strong enough to get those clicks, then why would I feel comfortable feeling like it's strong enough to make the sale? But I pay attention to that, but I just use the 3% conversion rate to determine when we roll out the campaign to cold traffic.
Very cool. All right. So Austin says, for current campaigns, can you discuss physical bonuses you ship versus digital bonuses? And I would imagine that Austin's asking if we see any difference in conversions when you go with a physical bonus versus a digital bonus, is my guess.
Yeah, so we don't test many physical bonuses. I want to. I know Damien really wants to. We've been talking about it for a while. I'll tell you that in some niches, in niches where certainly like in the IM world, the internet marketing world, physical does very well because it's different. Right, because everybody is being inundated with digital. It's the whole, when everybody zigs, you zag, and it's so true. And so where physical is common, or where physical is what somebody's buying, right? They're buying something physical. You won't see the same bump from a physical premium as you will in markets that are primarily getting digital stuff, and or the primary offer is the primary product is digital. The other thing to think about is, excuse me, if you're going with a physical product, whether it's a mug, a shirt, whatever, or an information product for that matter that you're sending out a physical version of, I would recommend that you have at least one premium that is digital so that you can fulfill this instant gratification factor. Right? Like, in other words, you want to give somebody instant, like if they've got to wait a week to get the product, or 5 days to get the product, that in of itself, people don't like the wait. And so that in of itself can be a reason not to order. But if there's a premium that is digitally delivered, and or even if everything is digitally delivered, you should try to have at least one premium that gives instant gratification. So hopefully that makes sense, David.
It definitely does. So Thomas asked a couple of questions. I think we addressed both of Thomas's questions about the examples. Thomas, I hope we gave you some good examples there. And what if we don't have a bonus or a premium? And so I have a couple of questions for you, Todd.
So hang on, yeah, 1 second. So you just said, so even it's not about, I'm not sure if this was the question, but I kick myself if I didn't say it again, that it's not about what you have on hand. It's about what can you add to the offer that would make it that much more of a no-brainer, right? You've got to remember that. And I cannot stress this enough. The offer can make or break your campaign. No matter how gorgeous your pages are, no matter how great your copy is, if you've got a crappy offer, your sales are going to suffer. Your job is to make the offer so good that your prospects say, well, why the heck wouldn't I do this? Right? Like, it's why one of the things that I would tell you is that you want to be careful looking at what everybody else in your market is doing and then modeling that. Because first of all, if everybody else is, or the majority are doing something, remember, the majority are the majority for a reason. They're the average, right? You're not looking for average. You're looking for better than average. And so you don't want to do what the majority is doing. What you really want to look for is, you want to look for a lopsided value proposition. You want to make it so that, like, if you feel like I'm selling this for $100 and these people are getting $100 worth of value, then you haven't done your job. Right? Like, I want to give an offer. I want to sell something that's $100 that is really legitimately $1,000 value. 10 times value is what I'm trying to put together. And so that's why you really want to be careful that you don't look at what's on the hard drive. It's about what's going to make these people go wild. And trust me, listen to me, when you do that, and that's how you begin to put together your offers, you will begin to have conversion rates that you are shocked by. That's how high they will be. You will be blown away by how high these things are. You'll start to look at things like 3% sales conversions and 2% sales conversions and 4% sales conversions like they're broken when you start to put your offers and your premiums together the way I'm telling you.
Very cool. All right. So Pete has another question. I have one question, quick first, Todd. We've talked in the past on previous sessions about offering bonuses for folks who don't make a buying decision on the first chance and the first opportunity to go forward with the offer. So, in the follow-up sequence, we then say, hey, if you hop on now, you can get this additional bonus, which we end up giving to everybody who enrolls in the first place. But are those bonuses? Do you try and make them a little bit extraordinary? The ones that you offer on the follow-up sequence versus the bonuses that you offer right on the initial offer?
Yeah, I do, but I don't. I mean, look, in the spirit of being transparent, I don't go. So what David is talking about is in the intensification sequence, and we covered this in a prior tactical Q&A session. In the intensification sequence, when we're following up with a non-buyer who's seen the offer, we'll typically sweeten the offer, intensify the offer with an additional bonus or two. We always give those bonuses anyway to the people who have already responded. They just become like unadvertised bonuses, so we're just over delivering value. I don't go as hog wild with those bonuses as I do with these because you'll really you're only going to see incremental increases from the intensification sequence. But look, in an ideal world, yeah, you want to have like you're don't just send out a bonus just because like you've got it. And I still will think to myself, what is it that would make this person, like what is it that is perfectly aligned with what it is that this person wants and needs that could be missing that would make it that much sweeter. I just don't go as hog wild with those as I do these main premiums.
Very cool. All right. So Pete says for bonuses that you're giving a dollar value to, should they always be available on the website showing that as a product for sale at that price? So in other words,
No,
okay, all right,
no,
you got
no.
it.
And the only and what I would say when you're giving dollar values is obviously don't bloat it. I tend to undervalue bonuses, right? Like I'd rather, right, rather than saying like this is $3,000, like I typically will ask myself like what would I feel comfortable selling this at? Right. So while others might tell you give the value, not the retail price or what would be the retail price, give the value. I tend to feel like a lot of marketers can end up with something that's just not believable, right? Like, and it's just not believable. And to me, that just feels icky and weird. And so I typically use pricing that I would feel comfortable actually selling the bonus at.
Very cool. All right, and Todd, I know I've heard you say this before, and when I've created campaigns and we took a look at them, and you had mentioned you always really want to make sure that the bonuses are over the top because there could be one bonus on there that somebody makes their entire buying decision off of just that one bonus and that one bonus alone, right? That one bonus stands out as kind of like the mug in a way, but I really the bonuses do have to kind of stand out and really have to be over the top and as part of the offer. So,
Absolutely. I've bought lots of things just based on one or two premiums where I was like, I just want that one premium. And usually, and I said this at the very beginning of our session, it was because it was like it was, like their personal scribbled notes, the secret diagram that changed the entire game for them, right? Like, and it's a screenshot of or it's their system for doing, XYZ. Like if you were selling a productivity course, like what always gets me, and these type of bonuses and premiums just seem to do well. It's like the look over my shoulder as I walk you through my own calendar and I show you how I schedule my own things on my calendar and what my typical day looks like. Or right, if you're selling a course on like how to conduct meetings with your team, it's like, right, a recording of a live meeting with my team with commentary throughout showing you why I said what I said and did what I said, including all the handouts. And like, that's the kind of stuff that just brings it over the top. And so, yeah, that's what you want to be thinking about: the gaps, the excuses. You want to be thinking about what would they see as wildly valuable and what is different and superior and sexy compared to what's already out there in the marketplace. And so that's what you're looking for.
awesome. Well, we don't have any more questions. That seems like it is the end of this session and right on time too. So I thank you very much, Todd, for this presentation on the premiums, the bonuses, making juicy bonuses and premiums so that people make buying decisions. And man, just appreciate it.
You got it. And so there you go, everybody. So now you understand how to put together juicy premiums. Go the distance. Recognize that your sales will, your sales are absolutely going to go up by approaching your premiums the way that I shared with you on this session. I cannot stress this enough. Go the distance here and watch what happens. And so thank you guys.
I got one last thing, Todd.
Sure.
So on the last call, the tactic, or I'm sorry, the green light session, not the green light session, sorry, the copy logic scoring session. I started to tell your iguana story, and I held off, and I said, wait, Todd might use this story for a marketing piece or something. And sure enough, you sent the email out over the weekend. But I guess
it's on the blog. It's on the toddbrown.me blog. If anybody didn't read it, but it is actually a funny story. Hysterical story, and absolutely true. I have to imagine, like, I think there was a stretch of time, David, where I lost my mind and I was so like in the zone trying to save this iguana. First of all, though, let me say this. The context that I didn't give was this. I'm going to say this in 40 seconds, is this. I have lots of iguanas in my backyard. So there's like a family of iguanas that regularly come in my backyard, 7, 8 of them. And while, you know, I'm being from New Jersey, I like it. I dig it. I don't find them to be a nuisance. But so there's this attachment, like we see the little ones, the kids, you could see the 2 monster sized ones. This particular iguana, I could tell was old, was big, about 3 feet, gray, you know, like grayish green. And so like, yeah, so I totally lost my mind, saw this thing, went online, did some, you know, like a few minutes worth of research, went outside, like heated up this towel in the microwave for like 10 seconds so that it was a little warm, went out, grabbed it, moved it around as the sun was shifting. So the shade, then this iguana would be in the shade, went out, boom, moved it around. My wife, daughters are laughing at me like, what are you at? You know, and I'm at one point, I'm starting to debate, should I bring this iguana into my garage in like a tub and like set it up with a heat lamp or something, totally out of my mind. And then, yeah, the end of the story you can read on the blog, but let's just say it is absolutely quite likely that I was moving a dead iguana around my lawn multiple times. Not realizing it wasn't frozen, but it had passed on into the great beyond. And so a lot to think about there, David.
I probably would pay good money. I'm just visualizing this, just seeing you like move this thing around your yard, this dead iguana. I would have paid
and
money.
And not only that, but so like an idiot, right? And this is why I say all the time, David, that I'm good at like one thing and really not good at much else. And that one thing happens to be what we're talking about here. But not only would I move the iguana into the sun, but then like an idiot, I would stand there for like a minute thinking that like the sun had this magical power of instantly unfreezing this iguana. And you know, like at one point my wife, you know, came out the backyard and was like, I don't think it works that quickly, babe. Like, and I'm like, all right. Yeah, not a good scene for TV. I think
you moved him into good position for the ending of the story. So if anybody else,
then yeah, and there was what I did not also share in that post was in that essay was that then I felt this extraordinary amount of guilt for about 30 minutes afterwards. Like I said to my wife, I told you I should have moved him into the garage, like, you know, and so it's still, I still can't go outside and look at these iguanas the same and not feel a sense of responsibility, but so be it.
Hey, one last thing, Ty, that's a great story. I love this story, and it just cracks me up just thinking about it. I don't know how much, and you probably got to jump, but there was one more question that came in from Hugo.
Sure.
If you got just 30 more seconds.
Absolutely.
So Hugo asked, can you share some of these premium tips for, like, if you have an e-commerce, if you have a physical good or a physical product, perhaps there's something that you can add on to for a physical good in e-commerce platform.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I wouldn't look at it as the platform changes anything about what it is that I shared with you. I would still approach it the same exact way. You just might have to get a little bit more creative. So, like, look, if you were selling if you were selling, like silicone spray in a can that somebody might buy to help, whatever, lubricate their shutters or whatever on their house, or their hurricane shutters or whatever, you could, there's lots of things that you could do. You might even, who knows, maybe you put together like a cool cheat sheet of the 10 10 secret ways to use the silicone spray to extend the life of, your most valuable appliances in your home or something like that, right? I don't know. We would just have to get creative, but I wouldn't think about it any differently than there's still an offer, there's still a product, there's still benefits, there's still potential gaps, there's still potential excuses. And so you just have to get a little creative, right? And that's all.
Yeah, and I gave somebody an example who was they were doing something with I think it was like oils or something like that, and just to have an info product on how to store the oils and where to store them, and a bonus on how to like a chart on when to use the certain oils for certain things, so things like that with a physical good. There's always something, and even with my product, there's always something that you can add on in an
Yeah,
info product
you
version.
can add it with oils. You can have a little holder, right? A little box holder that could actually wind up helping you sell more if, right? Like if there's empty spots for more oils in the holder, you can add on a book that, like, 6 different ways to use oils to boost blah 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 health, vitality. There's you just have to get a little creative. The thing that you don't want to do, the mistake that you don't want to make, all of you, every one of you, is you don't want to say, yeah, but my business, I can't really apply that. I'm in a different business. I'm in this business. I sell a service. I sell a software. I sell XYZ. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. It's all this. There's still an offer. There's still benefits. There's still gaps. There's still potential excuses. There's still things that you can add on that make it wildly valuable. You just have to understand, you have to think through what that is. And your goal is to just make the offer so good that, especially in an e-commerce platform and especially if you're selling a commodity that they can get, anywhere else, you have no choice but to sweeten the deal with something else or other things. Or why should they buy it from you? And why not just go find the cheapest location? And so, yeah, hopefully that makes sense, David.
Yeah, and again, man, another question came in. If you got to go, we can hang on, and I can answer
Fire
this
away.
question.
This will be the last one. Fire away. You got it.
All right. So Harvey says, I wrote an exercise book for back pain. However, it also includes techniques for almost every area of the body. I'm just marketing it for the lower back. How do I structure the bonuses with all the other body parts and not make it too much? I guess he means make it too much as far as the cost goes, or make it too much as far as what he's providing.
Maybe not make it too much, as in like have too many bonuses.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that he could do that I would probably do is, if he's selling a book that is addressing low back pain, and that's really what he's talking about, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have all the other books about the other areas as separate bonuses. I'd make it a collection, right? So in other words, one bonus is a collection of, natural pain relieving, exercises or natural pain relieving moves for the other 8, major areas of your body. And so, he said it's only one book. I'm not sure what he's asking exactly, David. I wrote an exercise book for back pain. However, the book also includes techniques for almost every other area of the body. I'm just marketing it for low back pain. How do I structure the bonuses with all the other body parts and not make it too much? So Harvey, if you're marketing a book that's all about low back pain, you're marketing it to folks that are suffering with low back pain, and you're marketing it as a solution to low back pain, I wouldn't even get into the other exercises or the other body parts. I would focus on the back pain, and I would be thinking about what bonuses could I add to the offer that relate to back pain relate to what it is that these people are thinking about and feeling as it relates to back pain. Like, just as an off the wall example, right? Maybe you give some, like, maybe there is a an all natural, this is just an example, not this, I'm not telling you to do this. Maybe you give an all natural pain relieving cream that for low back pain, that while the exercises are working over the next 48 hours, this will, or over the first 48 hours, this will help alleviate their pain immediately. Maybe you include a special band that helps them strengthen their low back muscles after the pain has been relieved, right? So that they don't have fear of re-injury or anything like that. You just have to really put your creativity cap on a little bit. And like I said, that I would be asking the same questions that I told you, that I shared with you guys and gals at the beginning of this session, are what I would be asking. What are the gaps? What can I give that would be wildly valuable? What do they think they might need? What do they think, what would they potentially want that they're not going to get from the book? Like, again, they want immediate relief while these exercises are doing. Okay, so what can I give them for immediate relief? Oh, they might be afraid that after these exercises relieve the pain, that they're going to be susceptible to re-injury. Who knows? Maybe, if they have to use painkillers, the only, sporadically, maybe there's a little cheat sheet or guide that you give for the only 2 pain relievers that anybody with low back pain should ever use. Like, those are the type of things that I would be thinking about, David.
Awesome. Thank you for taking that extra time, Harvey. I hope that helps. And we're going to sign off now. So thanks so much, Todd, for your time today. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
You got it. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Bye-bye now.